Caitlin Clark has just been selected with the #1 overall pick by the Indiana Fever. And with the WNBA season starting up in just a few weeks, I think it's time we talk about Caitlin Clark's move to the pros and what this means for the future of women's basketball. You see, no matter where Caitlin Clark goes, the money and the views are going to follow her. This Caitlin Clark effect we've seen play out through recent headlines that have popped up over these past few weeks since she's been drafted. I mean, first off, you've got the Indiana Fever now having 36 of their 40 regular season games be nationally televised. This is a huge deal for Indiana, who's been a mediocre franchise since their WNBA Finals loss back in 2015. They have been struggling to even get 10 wins on a season since that 2015 season, okay? So they've now gone from one nationally televised game a year to 36 overnight as soon as Caitlin Clark was drafted to this team, which I think speaks volumes to her importance in women's sports, okay? And this isn't the only headline. I mean, again, recently, we've had news break about Caitlin Clark signing a $28 million deal with Nike for 8 years. Now, this is a huge contract for just about anybody, especially a women's basketball player. This is record-breaking numbers, okay? And Nike weren't the only company interested in sponsoring Caitlin Clark. I mean, you had their competitors, Under Armour, Adidas, even Puma, trying to make a bid for Caitlin Clark. And Under Armour came damn close. Of course, they didn't offer Nike amounts of money, putting in a deal worth about $16 million for 4 years, but they tried their darn best. They even had Steph Curry have a meeting with Caitlin Clark to try and pitch her to come to Under Armour. That is how valuable Caitlin Clark is seen by these major corporations. They want her. They need her to sponsor their brands. And, of course, she goes with Nike, who offered her an unbelievable amount of money. Not just any WNBA player has that kind of motion. Caitlin Clark just does not stop making history. Everywhere she turns, a new record has been broken. Something new has been achieved for the first time, and it's by Caitlin Clark. I mean, for example, we've got the James E. Sullivan Award, which she has just won for the second year in a row. The first person to ever win this award twice, and it's Caitlin Clark. Now, what is this award? Well, it goes to the most outstanding athlete at the college or Olympic level. Now, that is a damn hard award to get, so it makes sense as to why it's never been given out twice to the same person, except for Caitlin Clark, okay? The amount of stuff she's been able to accomplish in her college career has been pretty unbelievable. Of course, that national championship did evade her for her 4 years at Iowa, but what can you expect? I mean, she went to a small program, brought them from the ground up, really carried them out the mud, and she got them to the national championship game twice, just was unable to get, seal the deal. But come on, we're not here to talk about the things that Caitlin Clark wasn't able to do. Let's get to the things she has accomplished and has gotten done in her time playing basketball. I mean, her freshman year in Iowa, she went out, averaged 26.6 points per game, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, 1.3 steals, and her shooting, damn near perfect. I'm talking 47% from the field, 40% from the three-point line, and 85.8% from the free throw line. Now, her efficiency would only, continue to get better as her game progressed. But of course, the shots got more difficult as teams really started to recognize Caitlin Clark as one of the best players, if not the best player in college basketball. And of course, her numbers will stay, about the same over these last 3 or 4 seasons. She would get them slightly up her senior year, the year that just took place. But I've covered her senior year in a few videos right over here if you want to check those out. But you know what, for the sake of this video, let me sum it up real quick. Now, I will say, Caitlin Clark's playmaking really progressed over these last few seasons at Iowa. I'm talking, her being able to read the court. Her basketball IQ has just grown immensely throughout her time in college. Now, during her senior season, she went out, she averaged 31 points per game, 7.4 rebounds, 8.9 assists, 1.7 steals, and she shot 45.5% from the field, 38% from the three-point line basically, and 86% from the free throw line. But these numbers don't do Caitlin Clark justice, because if you actually watch the games, you would know that these numbers aren't enough to describe the way that Caitlin Clark affects the game for this team. When Caitlin Clark is off just even a little bit, Iowa struggled and fell apart completely. She was the heart and soul of that entire team. And when you're averaging just under half of the team's points a game, it makes sense as to why this is the case. Now, if we take a look at the Indiana Fever, the team that Caitlin Clark will be playing with, they have their experience with drafting in the top 2. Hell, some of their, if not all of their best players were top 2 selections. I'm talking Kelsey Mitchell, a 2018 second overall pick for the Indiana Fever. And while she's been with this team for about 5-6 seasons at this point, she hasn't been able to get them where they need to be. And that is, higher than 10 wins a season. Please, gosh. Kelsey just last year averaged 18 points for the Fever, while also getting, 3 assists, 1.6 rebounds. She's really just a scorer for this Indiana Fever team. And then you've got NaLyssa Smith. Now, NaLyssa Smith was the second overall pick in 2022, if I'm not mistaken. Another very high draft pick for the Indiana Fever. And when you finish at the bottom of the season, that kind of makes sense. Now, last season for the Fever, NaLyssa averaged 15.5 points per game. Her rebounds sat at about 9.2, so she really carried the team when it came to getting boards. And then shooting-wise, NaLyssa Smith is going now and averaging 47% from the field and 28% from the three-point line. Now, one thing that Kelsey Mitchell is good at is hitting threes. She averaged nearly 40% from the three-point line last season with the Indiana Fever. So you pair that up with Caitlin Clark, pretty unstoppable duo you have there. And last but not least, you've got Aaliyah Boston. Aaliyah Boston was the first overall pick just last year by the Indiana Fever. Yes, this team has had back-to-back first overall picks. Talk about the lottery gods having their favorites. Now, from the field, Aaliyah Boston shot 57%. She took almost no threes on the season, and I'm pretty sure she averaged 14.5 points per game, nearly 9 rebounds, about 8.4, and 2.2 assists. So she was solid as a rookie, but not game-changing. Not to the same effect that I believe Caitlin Clark will have her rookie season. And I can't wait to tune into some Indiana Fever games. Maybe Caitlin Clark will make the WNBA a little more watchable. Because let's be real, it's kind of a hard watch as is. But hopefully, for the sake of the game, Caitlin Clark, comes in and takes over immediately. And like it was reported, if she does really well, this is basically her tryouts for the Olympic team, which is this summer, by the way. But that's about it for this video. All I really wanted to say about Caitlin Clark has been said, so I'll catch y'all later. Much love. Deuces.